Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Hare Krishna Project podcast. This is episode number 141. Still can't quite believe we made it to our 141st episode. A big thank you to everyone who tunes in on a regular basis, many of you weekly, not to listen to me, but to listen to our guest. I appreciate each and every one of you being with us. Do not forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you haven't already, to hit the subscribe button so you can be kept updated about future podcasts and video productions from the Hare Krishna Project. Or if you're watching this on Facebook, that's the other way you can watch these podcasts, is to like or follow, if you haven't already, the Hare Krishna Project Facebook page, because you can be kept updated about future podcasts, video productions, and other things we do here at the Hare Krishna Project. As you know, we don't just produce podcasts, we distribute books, we do events, we visit schools, we organize kirtan events, and etc. Lots of things that keep me out of trouble. It's good to be busy, I think, in seva, in aspiring to be Krishna conscious. As you know, I love to interview a wide range of people, devotees, and over the last 3.5 years, we've kind of gone. It's kind of been like a who's who of the Hare Krishna movement, and which is fantastic. I get to meet people I've never met before. Today's guest I have met before a few times. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome our 141st guest. It's Candrika Devi Dasi. Hare Krishna.
Oh, done well pronounced today. Thank you so much for inviting me to your Hare Krishna Project podcast.
No worries. It's great to have you with us. We were just reminiscing before I hit the record button of when we first met, or when we think we first met. And I'm pretty sure I bumped into you outside of Tesco in Carmarthen in the middle of Wales about 7 years ago.
That's correct. Yes.
I mean, it wasn't completely random. We were both on our way to the same event. I didn't just drive 3 hours to go to Tesco. Uh, yeah, the one where I live is terrible. I'm joking. Okay, Chandrika, let's start with a nice, easy question. It's the first question that every guest gets just to warm us up on what is now a cold autumnal day. Um,
Mm.
it's getting cold. Please tell us a little bit about you and where you are from.
Okay. Um, so I was born in England and grew up in a very sort of sweet Christian background family, and in my teenage years I studied with the Jehovah's Witnesses for about 4 or 5 years, which
Wow.
was a very sweet time in my life actually. Um, and then family life began, and then Maya took a hold in a very good way. And then um, I met my husband in 2008, and then that was the kind of beginning of the Krishna conscious journey.
Wow. Well, you've said something that really intrigues me. My ears perked up. Um, as a teenager, you're involved with the Jehovah's Witness community.
Yes,
Um, was that something your parents got you involved with, or you did it on your own?
my my dear mother, she suffered a lot in this life with all kinds of depressive things and things, and from when I was born, basically. And so I think we were living on quite a heavy council estate in Chingford in London, North London. And she was really suffering with depression, and she was started praying. And then 2 days later, the Jehovah's Witnesses knocked at the door, and she felt this is obviously the answer to her prayers. And so she invited them in, and then yeah, we were with them for, I think it was about 5 years. I think it was about when I was at the age of 13 they came. And so we used to do like Bible study, and we used to go to the congregations and the bigger congregations in stadiums, and preaching door to door. It was it was a lovely time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as far as I'm aware, you're the first ever guest that's had a Jehovah's Witness background. I
Mm,
actually have a lot of time for the Jehovah's Witnesses. I
mm,
know they get a
thank
lot
you.
of kind of criticism and stick, but they've always been
Mm,
nice to me.
yeah,
And one of my uh, good friends at school was a Jehovah's Witness, and
mm,
he was always very respectful. And I I admire them because even though they get a lot of doors slammed in their faces, they keep going. They just keep
mm,
going. And I think
yeah,
we can all learn something about from that. That kind of
yes,
when you're committed to something, if you're
yeah,
passion,
totally.
dedication,
Mm,
you want to serve God, you just keep going
mm,
despite
mm,
doors both literally and metaphorically being slammed in your face. So yeah,
mm.
thank you for sharing that. Wow. Okay, so how did you meet the devotees? How did you discover Krishna consciousness?
Okay, so when I was 16, I had a job on Oxford Street in London, and my memory is only of being given a book by a devotee. It was The Perfection of Yoga. I don't actually remember. I think they were singing harinam, but I don't actually remember. I don't remember them singing harinam, but I know there were quite a big group of them, devotees, and then I remember I've got a sort of vague memory of one handing me Perfection of Yoga. I didn't open it. It was sealed. I didn't open it for quite a while, and when I did open it, obviously I couldn't understand anything at that time. Not that I can understand anything now, but I couldn't understand anything that what Srila Prabhupada's words that were written. But I kept the book for many years, and realizing some realization is there was something very special about the book, and it stayed in my bookcase for many years. So that was my first kind of interaction with devotees in that way. And then I met my husband in 2008, and he had been um, associating with the devotees, in all kinds of ways. He was a musician, so he was, sort of doing lots of kirtan, and yeah, sort of he had links with Chaitanya College and Queen Court at that time. So yeah, um, and then we ended up both being god brother and god sister, taking initiation from our Gurudev later on. Yeah.
Wow. Did you say that your husband was involved with Chaitanya College?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been there a number of times over the years,
Beautiful there,
and
isn't it?
yeah, it's quite a
Mm,
remarkable place.
yeah.
And if anyone listening doesn't know what we're talking about, Chaitanya College, which is now called Croom Court, was a stately home owned by ISKCON between 1979 and 1984. For 5 years, it was one of ISKCON's biggest temples in the UK. And there was a Gurukul there, and there was an ashram, and it was a place. It was kind of and it's kind of based in Worcestershire, so just kind of southwest of Birmingham. But things happened, and ISKCON had to sell the property in the mid 80s, and it's now owned by, I think, the National Trust. So people can visit. And I think one of the rooms there does still, I wouldn't say resemble a Hare Krishna temple, but the National Trust just tries to respect the history of the building. And there is one room that kind of looks like a bit of a temple with different kind of artifacts. I guess you could say Indian artifacts or Vaishnav artifacts. So it's well worth a visit. Um, okay, so you met the devotees initially at the age of 16.
Yeah.
Um, do you have? I mean, How strong is your memory of that? Do you remember that like it was yesterday?
No, it seems like lifetimes and lifetimes ago. All my memories of childhood and previous lives seem like I don't know, it just seemed like forever ago, honestly. I don't know, people sort of say, I mean, time is flying very fast, but all my memories just, sometimes I wonder if they actually happened. Oh my God, did that happen? But anyways, I can't actually, they just seem so distant.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Mm,
So let's talk a bit about your harinam initiation. So you then kind of fast forwarded to 2008. I
mm,
don't think you were 16 in 2008. So I think there's a gap there, isn't there? Uh, I wasn't 16 in 2008 either. I think there's a gap there. But
mm,
so 2008, you're starting to get more involved then with Krishna consciousness for different reasons, for different purposes. Um,
mm.
Tell us a bit about what am I trying to find out here? Some of the kind of which which devotees were kind of making an impact on your life back then? You know, were you getting involved in any particular groups, any particular temples?
Um, so in 2008, I was living in Glastonbury, and so in the beginning, it was more like sort of kirtan based meditations. I was still learning, everything was very, very new, so I didn't know anything. My husband, one of the very first things he asked me to do was to learn the Panchatattva mantra, which he wrote on a card. And so I was learning it, having no idea that this mantra was actually the greatest personalities of our time. So I didn't even know they were personalities. I was just learning this mantra. So so in the beginnings it was just mainly sort of kirtan based, and then and it was more kind of, it was just kind of like me and him, like for many, many years. And we were in touch with other devotees, mainly from the Brighton area, actually. So there were very dear devotees of Srila Bhaktivedanta Vana Goswami Maharaj who we were in touch with, and devotees of my Guru Dev also. And we would, sort of have conversations with them. They would be kind of, one dear devotee, she would send me beautiful deities. So I started worshipping. I say worshipping deities, but trying my best to, learning, asking her loads of questions about how to worship Thakurji. And she was sending many books. But I was still very much in Maya then, but I was chanting like a little bit, trying to learn different songs or singing different songs, listening to lectures, but very much still more in material life in those times. And then in 2015, we moved to Brighton, and that was when we sort of began to have more and more association with Bangladesh and Maharaj disciples. Before that, I was with another map for some time, traveling for a little while with them, and going to visit them for a little while. Um, and But then I was more attracted to my Gurudev, because I actually saw my Gurudev. I think it was maybe like 2014, something like this. This dear devotee had invited us up to come and meet him, so we travelled up from Cornwall to go and meet him, and that was my first ashram with him, and I just stayed at the back and I hid. um, and But it was an amazing experience being in his presence, for sure. Yeah, I think that's everything. Have I answered everything?
No, that's great. Thank you. Thank you. I was just having a good time just listening to that then. Um, can you tell us a little bit about tell us a bit about your Harinam initiation and how it came about? What were kind of the
Yeah.
circumstances around that?
Well, I was actually aspiring for one Maharaj at the time, and then there was another devotee who has is still quite a big influence in my life. Like my Guru says, sometimes Guru will come, or Krishna and Guru will come either as themselves, or they will come through, through others. And so there is one dear devotee who has, who I know when she says something, I know I listen to her, because I know that this is coming, from Gurudev. And so she was in touch with me and explaining all the reasons why it won't be so good to take initiation from this Maharaj, and she was really encouraging me to take initiation from Srila Bhaktivedanta Vana Goswami Maharaj, and she wanted me to had a whole hour discussion, and it was blowing my mind, and I didn't quite know, what's happening or what to do or anything. And she said, I'm going to speak to the Sevak of Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj and find out if he will give you initiation, because he doesn't give initiation to very many people. So and I'd also been inspired for another Maharaj before that as well, and I was sort of categorically told, no, he's not he's not the guru for you, kind of thing. And since then I've kind of come to realize that whoever is coming for you is, he's coming for you, and it doesn't matter what we want to do, he's coming for you, and that's his mercy. So then after, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 days or something, she got back in touch with me and said that my Guru Maharaj had agreed to give me harinam via Skype. And so it was arranged then that we were going to, I think it was about a week or 10 days time, something like this. Anyway, in the meantime, no, it's a bit longer than that, maybe, I can't remember. Anyway, so anyway, we ended up becoming homeless at the time due to our karmic circumstances. And so we were kind of like traveling around the country for like a month, living in tents and all kinds of things, and in the car and everything. And then we ended up coming to Brighton, and staying with the devotee friend, the one who had sent us all the Thakurji and books. And this is where we were staying when the date had come for my initiation. And that morning something had happened, and I got really upset, and so I was not wanting to go at all. I was like, how can I go in this, in this frame of mind, etc. I was really, really upset, and but I was still actually getting ready, which is quite having these temper tantrums and still actually getting ready. And then my husband was going, okay, we have to go, and he was just basically making sure he came with me, making sure that we would go. And so we were going to another dear devotee's house, my god sister, and to have and my Guru Maharaj was giving me initiation via Skype. And so I'd collected some flowers and some diksha for him, and came in front of him, and the most amazing experience. So I don't know how they can do this transportation of this feeling of their presence, sort of via Zoom. It was, or Skype, I can't remember, maybe Skype. But it was a very beautifully intense experience being in his presence. And he gave me my name and gave me initiation. And yeah, it was very brief but very powerful. Well, now I feel it's very powerful. At the time I was, still in some strange other place, other mood. And then yeah, that was my amazing experience with him, and my only connection with him in that way. I had darshan with him via Skype before, in February. So this was February 2017. I had this. He gave darshan to one program, at one program in Brighton, and it was a beautiful, beautiful class. And he spoke in English, which was quite rare for him at that time. And then he gave me initiation in August, And so this is my two darshans with him. And then after my initiation, he then left his small division 17 days later. So that
Wow.
was quite yeah. So it was my great fortune, of course, my great fortune to take initiation from his Mahabhagavat. Also my great misfortune that I never actually met him personally. So yeah, so
And his body was of advanced age, wasn't it, as well?
yes,
How old was he when he left the
90,
planet?
he was 92.
92. That's quite amazing, isn't it?
Mm,
Um, I think if my body's in good health, I'd like to live to 92 as well.
yeah, me too.
If there's a reason for living, of course.
Yeah,
But yeah, wow.
yeah.
Amazing. So he had or has very few disciples in Britain, and you were kind of one of the last. I think that's what you've been saying. One of the things that you said, and he wasn't really taking many disciples, but you were maybe possibly the last.
I don't know if I was. I don't know if I was the last or not. I don't know. I don't know if I was the last or not. But I think there are. I think there are three, maybe four. Four. I think there are four disciples of my Guru Maharaj in this country.
Yeah, that's quite something,
Yeah.
isn't it? Quite a small
Mm,
elite group.
mm. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now tell us a little bit about your relationship with Bhaktivedanta Vana Goswami Maharaj, because he's also played an important role in your life spiritually as well. Uh, so tell us a bit about your relationship with him and some of your travels with him as well.
Okay. So after my Guru Maharaj uh, left this mortal plane, I then I was living in Brighton then, and managed to find a place in Brighton, so we moved there and began associating more with Srila Goswami Maharaj disciples, and then my Gurudev had come to Brighton, and so I'd been sort of I was traveling. I think I was traveling around I went to Wales with him. I think maybe. Or did I? I can't remember. My memory's really bad. But I'd gone to some programs with him, and became very attracted to him, to his Hare guitar, and to his very sweet mood. And then my husband, he actually wanted to. He actually wanted to take initiation from him. So my husband was ill at the time, so I'd come to the programs, and we'd asked to know if he could take initiation from Gurudev, and so this was being arranged. And while this was being arranged, I was asked by another devotee, would you also like to take diksha initiation from Srila Bhaktivedanta Vana Goswami Maharaj? So I said, wow, that'd be amazing. Then, yeah, yes, please, that'd be really amazing. And so then I think he gave me initiation the next day, diksha initiation, diksha into the diksha mantras by his mercy. And then after that, I was just basically just completely involved myself with, with him, and I was listening to his Hare guitar every day, and sort of going with him whenever I could travel. I was able to go to my first Vrindavan Parikrama in 2018, which was the middle 2 weeks of the Parikrama. And that was amazing by his mercy to go on Parikrama. The first week was in Vrindavan town, and the second week was at Govardhan. And that was really amazing. And then after that, I think it was 2019, my husband was sort of was getting sort of quite poorly, so I wasn't able to sort of travel too much. Then I think we had the COVID time, I think. And then after COVID, my husband was sort of, very, very ill and preparing to leave. And then after he left last year, I was able to travel with my Guru Dev to some European countries with him, and to witness this unprecedented phenomenon that is his traveling. He's been traveling for 27 years non-stop, like literally.
Wow.
Even during the COVID times, he was still traveling in India when he was able to, and he was still giving Hare Guitar twice a day on Zoom. And as anybody knows, when you're traveling, how tiring it is, especially this time in Kali Yuga, everything's very, very tiring. But it's unprecedented. His travellings. We knew that Srila Bhaktivedanta Vana Goswami Maharaj travelled for 11 years, around the world, and Srila Bhaktivedanta Vana Goswami Maharaj he travelled many years. Maybe he travelled 13 years. Is that right? Something like this. I think like 13 years he travelled. Maybe more. Can't remember, maybe 13 or something. So yeah, to travel for 27 years non-stop is phenomenal. And obviously because because of his because he's sannyas, they're not able to stay in one place for too long. So he's always having to travel, and he's following the instruction of his Guru Dev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Vana Goswami Maharaj, so amazingly, to preach in the world. And he's everywhere he goes, there's so people are taking initiation from him, and he's giving so much mercy to everybody. And his Hare Guitar is so sweet, and he's so funny and kind, and so humble. His humility is really quite amazing, and to be in his presence is it's just, I don't know, it's really difficult to put into English words, because sometimes they are very limiting. But it's to say it's a great privilege is
It's an understatement.
An understatement, yes.
What is, do you think, and do you feel, the most important thing that he has taught you over the years?
He gives these really beautiful instructions. He says to live a Krishna conscious life is to chant the holy names, and to chant your fixed round of harinam, to chant the holy names, to take Mahaprasad, and to listen to Hare Guitar. He said that's it. So in this way that we can always stay connected with Krishna, because we're always chanting the holy names. We take Mahaprasad, and we listen to Hare Guitar every day. And my Guru Maharaj says as well, he says, we should listen to Hare Guitar every day, because a day without listening to Hare Guitar is a very unfortunate day indeed. So sometimes I'm really listening, like even if I can just listen like for 10 minutes, I'm making sure every day I listen to Hare Guitar. But once you start listening, this is what my Guru Dev says, that we have all these anarthas in our heart, lust and greed and anger and envy, and all these horrible things in our heart, he says. And the only way to actually clear them is by listening to Hare Guitar. Because Hare Guitar is Shabda Brahma. As we know, Shabda Brahma is the transcendental sound vibration coming from the spiritual sky itself. And if we're listening to a bona fide spiritual master, this Shabda Brahma will be coming from straight from the spiritual sky, through him. And he says it goes into our ears and then enters into our heart. And so make sure it doesn't go in one ear and out the other. Make sure it goes into your ear and into your heart. So you pray that the Hare Guitar goes into your heart. And this is the way that Krishna cleans our heart of all our anarthas, by listening to Hare Guitar. So this is one of the most important instructions, as well as then chanting the holy names, with sincerity, without distractions, so that we can begin our inward journey to finding out who we truly are through the mercy of Guru. And then taking Mahaprasad, because Prasad, he says, actually means mercy. So we're taking Mahaprasad, and we're taking Prasad, and this is Krishna's mercy in beautiful food form. And I think most of us know that how we've got here is through taking Prasad. Like Srila Prabhupada says, up to the neck, literally. Time and time again, this is how the mercy is coming, through the prasadam and through the devotees who are constant well wishers, making sure, caring for us all the time, making sure that we're okay, making sure that we are, sort of continuing and following the path. So it's it's Guru and Vaishnavas who are keeping us going. But I think they're the most, as well as all the other amazing instructions that he gives, the very, very sweet ones. I mean, my Guru Maharaj, he gives very, very sweet instructions also, like he took one instruction from Srila Bhaktivedanta Vana Goswami Maharaj after he'd been serving him, and he asked him if he could give him some instruction. And Srila Bhaktivedanta Vana Goswami Maharaj said, yes, Dekive Bolave Shunive now. And he said, this is observe and listen, but do not speak, and you will never get into trouble. And my Guru Maharaj says he followed this instruction for the rest of his material time here. And so I try and, not always successfully, but I try and follow this instruction as well, because it gives you that distance between wanting to say something when there's no need to. And it does keep you out of trouble, and you do observe, and you do hear more by following these instructions, the very sweet instructions. So all the instructions, all the instructions that our spiritual masters give us are all very, very important for our spiritual well-being and progress. I'm always praying that one day I will follow them all. But these were the three ones that my Gurudev gave that are very important to us all. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Why is the link between guru and disciple so important, and how does it add, or how can it add benefit to our lives?
The importance is because it is only Sri Guru. It is only our spiritual masters, our initiating spiritual masters, who can give us shelter in this material world. All our other relationships are only very temporary, and because all our other relationships are with other souls who are conditioned, they however much we still have love and affection for them, they still have love and affection for us, but they're not going to be able to be in a position to take us from this from this world of samsara, from this cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. We can only achieve anything by taking full shelter of our divine spiritual masters. There's no other way really, and it's by their mercy everything is coming. We can do our it's like I think Srila Prabhupada said to me, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj said, we take one step towards Krishna and he takes 10 steps towards us. This is very true, because we are Bada Jivas, we are very insignificant when we come to realize our insignificance, and the greatness of the Mahabhagavats and our spiritual masters and what they're doing for us. Because I think Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that they will spend like thousands and thousands of gallons of blood or something to keep keep us on the path. And so he says it's not an easy path. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati says, this is a path paved with thorns and obstacles. And my Gurudev says, don't be surprised by those that stay, but don't be surprised by those that leave. Be surprised by those that stay. It's a very difficult path, but by their mercy, by their kind mercy, they keep us close to us in so many ways. And however we're sort of like feeling, Gurudev's always saying to us, I'm always with you. Guru is always with you. He doesn't say I'm with you. He says Guru is always with you. He never considers himself to be Guru. He always says Guru and Krishna are always with you. You don't need to worry about anything. So by following his instructions, that can keep us that relationship, sort of strong and ever evolving and ever sweeter. And it's the most amazing relationship. I can never even begin to thought of anything like this when I was growing up. That anything like this would ever existed. It's amazing. And what was the second part of your question? Sorry for this.
You've kind of answered it, but the second part was how does so our relationship with our gurus or with Guru, how does it add benefit to our spiritual lives?
Okay. How can I answer that? Yeah, because Gurudev says always be anugatya, always be under guidance, and we can share anything with them, share everything with them, because Gurudev says he says I can look at your forehead and read and know everything, so they know everything, but it's up to us to be able to say everything. You don't keep anything from them. Don't be not duplicitous or hypocritical or anything. And then by this, it frees up so much stuff from the heart, so much stuff from the mind. So this is really beneficial that if they give us the opportunity to atone for our sins from this life, from last life, past life, many thousands of past lives, and so that then we can clear all these things and progress. And so that's a real benefit, that they are always there for us in every capacity to help us, to always be encouraging us on a spiritual path. It's amazing.
One thing you said just now that really kind of stuck with me or made an impression was you said that your relationship with Guru is the only relationship that's permanent. In comparison to our more earthly or worldly relationships like parents, brothers and sisters, friends, acquaintances, they're all temporary. And I kind of know that, I understand that philosophically, but I really felt it when you said it then, in terms of actually our relationship with our Guru is the most important because it's the only one that's eternal. And yeah, I find that quite interesting, and it's something that we should all contemplate. Our relationship with Guru is so important. It is the most important relationship, and taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, a bona fide Guru, is so important because they can, take us home, take us, lead us to Krishna. And that's, family relationships are nice and friends are nice, but they're only temporary. They don't last forever.
But we should still have that very sweet relationship with them. We still, because like Gurudev says, our mother is our first Guru, and we can never repay her. We've had many mothers throughout our many lives, he says, but our mother, he says we can never repay your mother for bringing you here, for being your mother, because it's almost like how can we repay our mothers what they go through to bring us here? So this is what he says. So there is still that amazing, beautiful respect that we have for all our family and friends, and of course we learn so much from them, you know, sort of materially, etc. And everything's Krishna's arrangement. And Gurudev says as well, all the relationships that we do have, they're all part of our karmic past as well. So we could have been, you know, daughters and mothers in one life, and mothers and daughters in another life. So we're playing all these playing this amazing karma out, you know, as we progress. And but we know, you know, like you know, we're not going to get to know everybody in this life. We're not going to get to know the whole world in this life, you know, and everybody. But we'll always be loving and respectful to everybody. Gurudev says have love and affection for everybody. But yeah, ultimately, our only true relationship is with Sri Guru. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for the encouragement as well. And in terms of Von Maharaj, he's traveling for 27 years is quite remarkable, isn't it? Does he?
Yeah.
I mean, does he ever? When I say take time out, I'm not sure if sannyasis take time out. Well, they shouldn't take time out. But is there a particular place that he spends more time in, or a place that he likes to spend time in more than others?
He loves Brazil.
Brazil. Is that because of the weather or the trees or something?
I think he was there in the very beginning when he started his preaching. When he very first started preaching, he went to Brazil and had some of the most amazing adventures, trying to just you know, trying to preach, you know, in that time, in his very early years. But now Brazil is just the most amazing place to go for, you know, with my Gurudev, because he's cultivated, like, I don't know, I know Brazil is very huge, and I know he travels quite extensively when he's in Brazil, but he's built up the most amazing sangha in many places in Brazil. I think that they have 2 temples there. The Gurudev's, you know, he's built 2 temples there that are, you know, amazingly beautiful working temples. Many. There's thousands, and the Rath Yatra that they have in there in Sao Paulo. I think it's Sao Paulo. I think it's Sao Paulo where they have the Rath Yatra. It's massive. Absolutely massive, you know, sort of, you know, on par with the London Rath Yatra, just huge, huge. You know, hundreds and hundreds, thousands, loads, so many devotees are going, and you know, it's growing every year, and so yeah, he loves to be in Brazil. He's there about sort of 2 months at a time or something. Twice a year he goes to Brazil, and all his disciples, we all want to go to Brazil. We want to go to Brazil as well, and he gives Hare Guitar there 3 times a day, and the sangha there, they're so dedicated to him, and bringing so many you know, beautiful suffering souls to him, and it's just the energy and there is amazing when they go on harinam in the evenings with my Gurudev. It's just off the scale, and that's just coming through the internet. I haven't been there myself, but it's just so powerful. And yeah, he's very much loved in Brazil, because so many he's saving so many souls. It's amazing.
And in terms of Von Maharaj's following, both globally and in the UK, what kind of size is it?
Oh my God. It's massive. It's kind of exploding. It's kind of like it's growing and growing because it's also like he's becoming very big on the internet also. Though he has a very big team of his disciples who do seva for the internet preaching. And so of course on every, I don't know how you say, on every site, I don't know, I'm not big for these things, on every site, like Instagram and things like, he has like an Instagram page, and there's one devotee who makes these beautiful reels, you know, those sweet little reels that we see, you know, with a shloka or something that Gurudev is saying, and it is so funny. So a lot of these clips are just little clips of Gurudev saying something like quite funny, and then they've got like captions and, you know, the shloka that will go with it, and so it's very succinct, but it's just perfect, very, very sweet, perfect preaching. And it'll have, like, you know, the subtitles in English, or, you know, the Hindi as well, which is, you know, the Sanskrit, which is very powerful for anybody who's watching the reel. To see Sanskrit, it's, you know, it's very, very powerful in itself. So yeah, so he you know, his preaching is not just worldwide. It's, you know, it's on the internet as well, and it's growing. We're not able to sort of see him as much as we normally would do, because he's going to more and more countries. Like last year he went to Finland for the first time. He went to Iceland for the first time. So he's going to the newer countries that no one has been to before, as well as you know, sort of visiting all the many other countries he visits, you know, regularly. But it's becoming less and less that we're seeing him, you know, because his mission is expanding by the mercy of his Gurudev, and by the mercy of Mahaprabhu. It's growing exponentially. It's happening.
Is there a particular name for Von Maharaj's mission or initiatives? Is there a name for it, or is there a particular a project name or something, or initiative name?
Well, there's two names. There's Bon Majurium, which everyone can find on Facebook. His Bon Majurium page, and that's either with English translations, or just if he's speaking in English, then his classes go on there. And also there's a very sweet name, Bhakti Jakor, which is in his Pranam mantra as well. So this Bhakti Jakor is like he's like the bird that can speak for the beautiful Hari Katha of you know, of Mahaprabhu, of Radha and Krishna's pastimes, because he says his rest is actually speaking Hari Katha. So he doesn't rest at all. When he's, you know, he's studying, or when he's not giving Hari Katha, he's writing, or he's studying himself, you know, or obviously he's chanting, he's you know, he's managing the IGBT parikrama in Srinavari Dham. Many projects. He's you know, he's you know, his disciples are opening temples, and preaching so much internet preaching. So it's you know, it's an amazing mission he's undertaking for his Gurudev.
Wow. It is amazing, isn't it? And I see him a lot online. I see him a lot on the internet, and I can see that he travels a lot, and I can see that his following is growing. He has quite a lot of younger, not young or young, but younger disciples in the UK, doesn't he, as well?
Yes.
And a growing number of them.
Yes.
Okay. I shall put some links to his
Oh, wonderful.
social media channels with this podcast.
Wonderful.
Because I think we were chatting about this before I hit the record button. I think you're the first disciple of Von Maharaj I've ever interviewed. I have a
Okay.
feeling there was one other and I've forgotten, and that's terrible if I have forgotten. But yeah, but I think you're possibly the first.
Okay.
How can we? So you're from a Western upbringing, Christian upbringing initially, and then Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
You then took an interest in Krishna consciousness. You and I both have kind of a Western background. So I'm always
Yes.
keen to ask this question of those that are of Western heritage.
Yeah.
How can we attract more Western people to the Krishna consciousness movement?
That's a good question. Just plugging my phone in a minute. I think in this age, it's this very, you know, it's a very heavy age right now, isn't it? You know, my Gurudev says it's called Danya Kali, which is a very special age that Mahaprabhu came. But we are seeing now more and more, you know, the influence of Kali Yuga coming in heavy and heavier. So I think because he says that the internet is the best way to preach. This is, we can sort of find newer and newer ways of being able to reach people. Maybe it's through games, maybe sort of the online games. Maybe an online game can be made that's a Krishna conscious game. I don't know anybody who does all these programs and things like that, but I often thought that might be a good way of, if an excellent video game was made, that's one portion of one section of society that can be be reached, because they're that's where their life is, kind of thing. And I think if we sort of think about how we can reach different sections of society, maybe there could be plays written, or there can be films made, short films made, and so you could continue with the internet preaching, however people are attracted to that. But I think it's infinite with the internet being as it is, and with AI coming in as well. I actually used AI for the first time the other day from working with one godbrother, and I was quite blown away by using GTP. So, I mean, if Mahaprabhu is saying, that in every town and village, my holy names will be sung, then it's already happened. So we're just these instruments, and amazing instruments that we can help Mahaprabhu's mission however we can, and that's by his mercy and by the mercy of Gurudev. So we can carry on with that with the harinam. I think the harinam is so important. Because if someone's on holiday, so like where I live here in Wales, we went to a beach, to one beach last year, or the year before, something like this, and it was we went to a beach, and it was a really beautiful day, really beautiful day. The sea was really beautiful, and the beach was absolutely packed. So we decided to go and do harinam on the beach. We had books with us and stickers with us and badges, and I think maybe we had some prashadam, I can't remember. And we spent about like an hour and a half, 2 hours, just zigzagging in and out of all the people, and it was amazing because it was a captured audience. Everybody was really chilled. Nobody was at work. It was a beautiful sunny day, and the people were up dancing, and all the books went. We could have given away more books, and it was it was probably like the most amazing experience. So I mean, if we can all come together and work out ways of how we can preach, I think I don't think there can be a place that can't be reached. I mean, like in America, and I think in England as well, it's happened. They've been preaching in prisons and things, and how we can reach everybody, how we can reach people in like old people's homes, or in youth places where they sort of incarcerate teenagers and things like that. All these different places, how we can reach them by having discussions about how we can do this. I think it's really important to think of every section of society and how can we can reach them. Because not everybody's on the streets, not everybody is online, not everybody's doing this, that, and the other. So we can't. I think there's a wider scope of how we can help Mahaprabhu's and Gurudev's mission.
There's a mix of different things, really, isn't it? I guess in terms of kind of covering all angles. So you're in Wales.
Yes.
I always have to make sure I pronounce it correctly, Wales rather than Wells, because Wells is a city in Somerset. Wales, and this it's a Somerset thing. There's quite a few devotees living in Wales, isn't there? Are there many opportunities for association and kind of getting together at all?
Yes, we have an amazing sangha here, actually. A really beautiful sangha. We met last evening in a little village called Newcastle on Lynn. And Srila Bhaktivedanta Vana Maharaj, he lives here also, so we are very fortunate that we have his association, when he is here with us, and who's giving beautiful Hare Katha. We have a nice program and a beautiful prasadam and arati. And there's projects going on. My god sister, she's very involved in sort of preaching projects and projects for devotees. And yeah, it's really beautiful Sangha here actually. There's another dear devotee family as well. They do many programs as well. Yeah, it's really lovely.
Yeah, I mean, my geography is terrible, and sometimes remembering names I find difficult because I've met so many people. But I think there's a devotee living in your sangha or in your community that I've interviewed, Madan Mohan, or Madan Mohan.
Oh yes.
I interviewed him maybe as much as 2 years ago, but he was certainly on this podcast.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
there's another devotee living there, and she organizes lots of house programs. But I've forgotten her name. It's terrible. Oh, she certainly used to organize lots of house programs. Uh,
Okay.
uh, Terrible. And if she's listening, I'm so sorry. I forgot her name.
Is it
It's terrible.
Narayani Didi or Jagat Mohini Didi? Or Malini
What was the
Didi?
first name you mentioned?
Jagat Mohini Didi or Narayani Didi?
No, I'll have to say offline. I'll have to
Or maybe
send
it's
you the details. But
Charu Chandrika Didi. Charu Chandrika Didi?
that's the one. Yeah, that's the
Yes,
one.
yes.
Is she still organizing
So,
programs and things?
yeah, she's been preaching actually. She's been preaching in South America for quite a few months, and she preaches all around the world actually. So she's been preaching for quite a few months. She's coming home quite soon for a few days, and then she goes to India. So we'll see her soon. Yeah, but she's
Wow.
not so much in England in Wales so much at the moment. Yeah.
And in fact, the
Mm.
events that you and I met at during the pandemic, and before
Mm.
anyone says anything, we met outside in the park following the rules. That was actually organized by her. I remember now. It
That's
was
right.
in, you get lots of people
That's
watching this
right.
podcast. I have to watch everything that I say. Um, More messages, more emails. So yeah, I remember that she organized that event that we were reminiscing about before I hit the
That's
record
right.
button.
That's right. Yeah, that was
It
really
was a
beautiful. That was an
lovely
amazing
event,
day. Yeah,
actually.
it was. Yeah. She's very good at
Yeah.
doing that. I've been very fortunate to have her association and be with her when she's been organising, many, not just like house programs, but also programs for the public, in public meeting places. And I've been very fortunate to be able to learn so much from her, from her amazing guru nishtha that she has to preach. Also, yeah, she's amazing.
Hmm. And of course, the association of Bhaktivedanta Nemi Maharaj must be quite special,
Mhm. Yes.
quite amazing. I mean, if he's listening, there's certainly a long overdue invitation to have Maharaj on this podcast.
Oh, that'd be
Uh,
amazing. I'll speak with him as well about that.
I feel
Encourage
awful it
him.
hasn't happened because I'm interviewing a senior godbrother of him soon, and I feel I should interview Nemi Maharaj. And
Oh,
here's
lovely.
my very bizarre. It's not bizarre. Nothing's bizarre. My very interesting connection with Nemi Maharaj. Nemi Maharaj grew up in the city that I live in,
Mm.
and you know how you remember. It's like nothing to do with Krishna consciousness at all. But you know how you remember things. Oh yeah. So I've never met a sannyasi that grew up and lived as a child in the city that I live in. And he
Oh,
just dropped it
wow.
into conversation once. I'm like, wow, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I always think of that. I mean, it's a great city. So um, that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Mm.
Believe it or not, you and I have been recording this podcast for about an hour already.
Okay.
Time goes quickly, and
Goodness.
we've also had a bit of a tour of your house as you've been walking through. But
I had to plug
I'm
my phone in.
No worries, no worries. I mean, it's Wales. I've interviewed quite a few devotees from Wales actually over the years,
Mm.
and I'm due myself a visit to Wales at some point. It's terrible I haven't been for some time. I'd
Okay.
like to visit the Ganga Mata's ashram as well.
Oh, amazing. Oh my God, it's absolutely amazing there actually. Yeah, do go and visit there. It's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Do you live close to there?
I'm about sort of 2 to 3 hour public transport journey from them. Yeah, not too far. Not too
Yeah.
far.
Well, I
Yeah,
need
but
to
if you
arrange
come
a
to, if you
trip
come to
to
Wales,
Wales.
let us know. If you come to Wales, let us know.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. A trip to
yeah.
all the Welsh devotees listening, a trip to Wales is long overdue. Uh, and Wales is probably bigger than I realize. Okay. I think, Chandrika, I'm going to say goodbye to the viewers at home, and
Okay,
then you and I can have a brief debrief after.
okay.
I can't believe how quickly that hour went. That
I
was
know,
remarkable.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's been fantastic to have Chandrika as our guest on this week's podcast, to hear her story. And my favorite type of guest is the guest I know very little about. And uh, so I didn't know she was involved with the Jehovah's Witnesses as a teenager. I didn't know that she met the devotees in Oxford Street at the age of 16, which was in the year 2008. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. There was a bit of a gap. I was once told you should never ask a woman or a swami their age, so I'm not. Some people are very funny about it, aren't they? Don't say anything.
I don't
We're not
mind.
the
You can
body.
ask.
No, I won't. I won't. We're not
Exactly,
the body.
exactly. I'm not-
We're not. We're not the body.
Exactly.
We're not the body anyway.
Yeah.
So it's been fantastic to interview Chandrika on this week's edition. I will put the links to Van Maharaj's social media channels with this recording, so you can also follow him. I did actually meet him very briefly a couple of years ago when he was visiting Somerset, which is where I live. So that was wonderful. So a
Okay,
big thank
good.
you to Chandrika for being our guest this week. So do not forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you haven't already, to hit the subscribe button. That's so you can keep updated about future podcasts from the Hare Krishna project. As you know, this is episode 141, so we're now climbing up to 150. And we've got some more fantastic guests coming up on the podcast. And do not forget, if you're watching this on Facebook, if you haven't already, to hit the like or follow buttons or options so you can follow what we're doing that way. Okay, until next week, I'll see you all soon. Thank you. Hare Krishna.